80 facts about A.G. Lee. Comment, which superstar do you want in this new series? Her real name is Avery Janet Mendez. She was born on March 19, 1987. Her hometown is Union City, New Jersey. Her father was an automotive engineer, while her mother was always a housewife. She has confessed that her childhood was difficult because her family struggled with poverty, mental illness, and drug addiction. She is of Puerto Rican descent and is the youngest of 3 siblings. At one point, she and her family lived in motels or slept in their car because they couldn't afford rent. Her brother's interest in WWE inspired her to become a wrestler. Her all-time favorite wrestler was Lita. That's how she met her at age 12 during a meet and greet. In 2005, she graduated from Memorial High School in West New York, New Jersey. Her brother was in the United States Army. At the age of 20, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and WWE didn't find out until long after they hired her. As a teenager, she attempted suicide many times. She attended a university specializing in media arts and performing arts, which is part of New York University. After 6 months at the university, she left everything behind because of financial problems. In March 2007, she enrolled in a wrestling school near her home and was trained by Jay Leto. At the same time she was training, Jay Leto won her heart and started a romantic relationship with her. Her first ring name was Miss April. She first encountered WWE in May 2009. A.J. Lee revealed she had to pay $1,500 to attend a WWE tryout or official training. Because of her long hair, very few people ever saw one of her most meaningful tattoos. A.J. Lee has the numbers 6, 16, and 13 tattooed on her neck, but what do these numbers mean? Well, it's the date of her first women's championship won in WWE, which she won from her great friend Caitlyn. Why did she choose the name A.J. Lee? Some wrestlers can influence their company name choice. And since their names were April and Janet, she used AJ. However, the Lee is a tribute. Wendy Lee, the actress who voiced Faith Valentin in the Cowboy Bebop series, is a well-known fan of comics and anime. In the comic world, she has always called herself a Marvel fan, especially highlighting the X-Men in the Mutant Saga. She admitted Cyclops is her favorite character, and even though Wolverine is one of the most popular for her, he's probably the one she likes the least. In 2017 April, Jeanette Lee released her autobiography Crazy Is My Superpower, sharing details about her life. The book was also so well received that it became one of the best sellers in New York, which elevated her to the bestseller category. Beyond her book, she has written several comics, as well as the 2022 Netflix movie The Sword of the 47 Ronin. When she debuted in NXT, her mentor was Primo Colon. In 2019, she worked on the movie Rabioso, playing the role of Kira. He was Raw's general manager for 3 months in 2012. She currently shares the record with Neve Torres for most Divas title reigns by a female wrestler, each holding it 3 times. She was named Woman of the Year for 3 straight years, 2012, 2013, and 2014, by the prestigious magazine Pro Wrestling Illustrated. In 2014, she ranked number 2 among the top 50 female wrestlers. That same year, 2014, she married the wrestler CM Punk. As a fun fact, on the very day of their wedding, her husband received his release letter from WWE. In 2024, she said she didn't watch her husband's WWE matches. She formed a writing partnership with actress Amy Garcia in 2019. Their first project was the comic book series Glow vs. the Babyface, based on the television series Glow. In 2020, she created the production company Scrappy Hair Productions, dedicated to elevating diverse voices through storytelling, somewhat like voice actors. She has participated in various campaigns advocating for mental health awareness and animal welfare. In 2018, she received the NAMI Multicultural Outreach Award from the National Alliance on Mental Illness. April Jeanette Lee has always considered herself a tomboy since, according to her, she has several masculine traits in her personality. Currently, she and CM Punk live in Los Angeles, California, as well as in Chicago, Illinois, together with CM Punk. They rescued a puppy and later adopted him. He still lives with them to this day, and his name is Larry. She won 3 WWE Slammy Awards. In 2012, she was named Diva of the Year, as well as in 2014. She and John Cena won Best Kiss of the Year in 2012. In May 2022, she returned to wrestling and Women of Wrestling, working as a commentator and also as a producer. She worked there for a little over a year. AJ Lee, while being away from WWE, had praised Jade Cargill a lot and mentioned that she would like to face her someday. She debuted on television with Primo on September 7, 2010, defeating Xana and Goldust. April Jeanette Lee is very good friends with Bayley in real life. In fact, they always stayed in touch when she was away from WWE. Her first singles match victory in WWE was on September 21 against Maxine. And on May 27, 2011, she made her main roster debut, appearing on SmackDown alongside Caitlyn. In 2012, she became the first female winner of WWE's annual Superstar Challenge video game tournament, which featured 16 wrestlers, at WrestleMania 28's Axis events. Superstar Roxanne Perez has admired AJ Lee since childhood, and now it's her dream to work with her idol. She always wanted her ring attire to be simple and plain because she wanted it to be very easy for people to cosplay as her. In her biography, she says that the permanent damage to her cervical spine and achieving her goals led her to the decision to leave WWE. AJ Lee said that many people told her she didn't shine in her first years in WWE because Beth Phoenix and Natalya were there. AJ Lee's popularity began when she started working as Daniel Bryan's partner. To date, she is the champion who has held the title the longest, with 406 days adding up all her reigns. After her husband's dismissal in 2014, she said she felt trapped and that she was caught between WWE and her husband, CM Punk. Even so, she kept fighting as long as she could. On the Raw after WrestleMania 31, there was a women's match between teams of 3 versus 3. It turns out that this match would end up being her last, since on April 3rd, WWE announced that AJ Lee was officially retiring. On television, she was engaged to Daniel Bryan, John Cena, and Dolph Ziggler. In real life, besides CM Punk and Jay Lethal, she was also engaged to the wrestler Trent Beretta. In 2014, WWE released a movie in collaboration with Scooby-Doo, and AJ Lee provided the voice for her own character. Due to financial hardship as a child, AJ Lee says her parents would disappear from home for several days, and she had to borrow money that unfortunately she was never able to pay back. She lived for 6 months with her grandparents in Puerto Rico. As you know, she and her family once slept in a car. She admitted that she felt quite embarrassed when her schoolmates walked by the car and saw her. AJ Lee says that despite everything, she never really had problems with her father, but that the major problems in her life were with her mother. At some point in her childhood, April Jeanette Lee learned that physical violence solved problems and would punch anyone who looked at her. Weird. At school, other kids often mocked her father in front of her, calling them drug addicts. At age 8, she recalls a brutal beating from her mother. AJ Lee's traumas with her mother are so many that she says she often doubted whether her mother really loved her. AJ Lee's favorite video games were Resident Evil and Metal Gear Solid. She felt an almost real love for the game character Solid Snake. When AJ Lee started studying and left home, she realized that when she visited her mother again, her mother was missing almost all her hair. Apparently, her mother pulled out her hair from stress and from thinking that all her children had left her alone. At some point, she tried to help her mother with stress and with other mental problems her mother had. Her mom and dad refused to get help because, according to them, the mother wasn't crazy. And they asked her to please never talk about them like that again. When she joined WWE, she says a wrestler publicly scolded her for being too skinny. She has never revealed the name of who it was. Her sister was one of the people who saved her life when Lee tried to take her own life, since her sister quickly took her to the emergency room at the hospital, where she later woke up quite confused. Before working in WWE, she worked in rather small wrestling companies where her salary did not exceed $40. When April Jeanette Lee was with WWE's Florida Championship Wrestling, she said she was terrified of being called up to Raw or SmackDown after hearing terrible stories from other wrestlers. That they were called at 4 or 5 in the morning and had to go straight to the airport to be there the next day. On the show, Naomi and Xana continued training with AJ Lee. When WWE called her to see how she would do as a host at a live event, she went to buy herself a dress at Burlington, a very affordable chain store, to find clothes. When she arrived at WWE with the dress, she says that Tom Pritchard told her that maybe she should reconsider her appearance and that many people didn't like the way she was dressed. She was at the arena, ready to debut on SmackDown with Vicky Guerrero and Dolph Ziggler, but was told it would happen the next week. After that, it was postponed again, and she had to go back to Florida Championship Wrestling. She remembers that CM Punk was the kindest person to her at that time, and that the nickname he called her was Little One. One day, as she trained in the arena's hallways, a wrestler watched her in a strange way. She recalls Mark Henry approaching the wrestler, picking him up, and saying those things shouldn't be done to women. Which superstar would you like to see in this new section? Subscribe.